All right, guys, good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to you guys. Thanks for, excuse me, thanks for joining me live here. It's 6 a.m. live for our Ask AZ call. Just a reminder that the recording of this will be available for you if you want to rewatch it. It's going to be available on my podcast, and it's also going to be available on YouTube. So you can watch it, you can listen to it. And sometimes I give you guys some live coaching. Sometimes it could be some content, but it's always good if you've got some coaching that you could actually go back and listen to the recording of that. So, and of course, we have people joining us here who are not live with us, and they are watching this podcast. This is the AZ Ask AZ podcast. Segment, and or someone who's watching on YouTube. So welcome from wherever you are joining me today. So we've had some pretty good Ask AZs in relation to truth bumps, since that came up. Just a reminder, if you are new to this and you're watching this for the first time, this Ask AZ calls are there. It's dedicated, it's free, to support the people who are watching my coaching program online for free also. That online coaching program is the Limitless program, followed by the truth bumps that I release every couple of weeks. So there's a whole bunch of truth bumps online. So if you're watching this for the first time, suggestion is to actually get onto the content that is being released, that's available, made available to everybody on YouTube, and start with the Limitless program, and then follow on with the truth bumps in order of them being delivered. So truth bump 1, truth bump 2, etc. So always have to remind everyone, because I know sometimes anyone here new for the first time joining on the call. There you go. Welcome, Jonathan. Great to have you, and good to see your camera on. There's some people with they're shy with their cameras, so which is okay, and fantastic. So let's get started. So how this works, Jonathan, is I offer a platform for questions, comments, contributions, and basically that gives you an opportunity to ask any questions. It could be a coaching questions. This is going on in my life. This is not. Or it could be some comments, some reference points from your own life that you experience from watching the content. You might have questions around the content. Hey, I listened to Truth Bump 13. This is what you said. What do you mean by that? And I can answer it. So that's how it works. So let's start proceedings, if you like. Questions, comments, contributions. Let's see if sometimes there's a queue, sometimes there's not. So let's see what we have today. Any questions, any comments, any contributions?
How about now?
Oh, fantastic. Hey, how are you?
Yeah, I'm really good. Thanks. So it's really nice to meet you. It's really nice to jump on. So I thought I'd jump in and say hi. I'm in England.
Yep.
So I've by a whole sequence of events and synchronicities in my life, I've landed in finding you and your material, and now this group, and it's fantastic, and I feel really grateful. I did drop you a message, so I decided I wanted to go back to doing my pilot's license.
Yes, I remember that message.
Yeah, I used to do it when I was young as well, so that's how I knew this has got to be the right thing. So just for some feedback, so I watched your Porto.
Yep, the Limitless.
Unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. So I listen to and read a hell of a lot, and you and your material and the stuff that you say really did touch me deeply, and I shared that with a lot of people. So I've now got onto the journey of getting into your truth bumps and your Limitless podcast as well, and I'm into truth bump 3, so that's where I am. But thank you, and I really appreciate you doing so. It's great to be here.
Fantastic. Well, thanks for jumping right on, and awesome. Good luck with your pilot license. I just got my aircraft back yesterday, so I've just had an engine overhaul. I've got 2 aircraft. I've got a Pit Special S2A and an Extra 330. And both of them had to have an engine overhaul. And I got the Extra back yesterday and I had to do a test flight in it. Always a little bit nerving on the test flight because, they've just put a new engine in there. And that's when you change things, that's where things could go wrong. So, did a test flight and it all went well. And we've got to just pick up the other aircraft next week. So if you're ever in Australia and you want to go for a buzz in the air, upside down.
Yeah. I'll come and find you. No worries. Those are the Extra 330s. Wow. Just wow. So I broke my neck last year. I had an unfortunate accident and shattered my neck into 4. And I enjoy it. So that was just for everyone else on the call. That was a real kind of reflection point in my life that made me really. I'm a bit of an adrenaline monk. I've got 8 children in my family.
8 children. Wow.
I push everything hard. But that was a real kind of calling, I think, back to me from the universe to sort of say, maybe you need to just look at things slightly differently. And I'm very, very lucky. Spent 5 months in a neck brace. And genuinely felt blessed every single day of it and still do. Yeah. And it's really interesting because the first time I've been karting since breaking my neck, so my cast was off last October, was this Friday. And it's the first thing that my neck's reminded me that I broke it last year. And I'm kind of looking forward to getting the aerobatics to see how my neck feels there as well. So we'll see.
Fantastic. Just so you know, when you're speaking, you're getting a little feedback, like there's a mouse sitting there with you going... but yeah, no. It's from your audio, so you might want to check that next time. But it's okay; we could still make out what you're saying. But there was just a little feedback. You'll see in the recording. Jonathan, welcome and thanks very much. Appreciate you being here, and I look forward to sharing with you. I'll be here every week for as much as you want to be part of that. You can be part of that. So, thank you. I will share a little bit around adrenaline since Jonathan brought it up. I'm just going to mute you for a sec, Jonathan. There you go. So you're back muted. So, it's interesting because, some people think I'm an adrenaline person. I take passengers up and do aerobatics, and people always go, "Oh, you must be the biggest adrenaline junkie there is." And I'm like, funny thing is, I'm actually not. And they're like, "But you do aerobatics in a very, very high performance aircraft." And I'm like, yeah, it's a funny thing with that because, when I was a kid growing up, I had no interest. And this has got this adrenaline, people interested in adrenaline, there's an insight here that I want to share. But just before I share that insight, this gives you a bit of insight about my experience with it. So, when I was a kid, when we go to fun parks and stuff, my brothers and sisters, my older brother, he loves to get on these rides and scream and so he was always excited to go on these rides. And as a kid, I was waiting at the bottom of the end of the queue, holding everyone's bags because I had no interest in adrenaline stuff. I had no interest in watching scary movies. My older brother loved to watch scary movies. So, it just didn't interest me. I was afraid of it, I don't want to go on that ride. I don't want to be afraid. So anyway, it always surprises my passengers. They're like, "Oh, really?" And I tell them that story. So how did I get into aerobatics? Well, I got into aerobatics because when I started my flying training again, I of course intentionally decided not to make any goals around it. I just showed up and I wanted to fly, and even the flying school said, "Well, what's your goals? Do you want to become a commercial pilot? I said, "I just want to fly," and they said, "Yeah, but we want to know what kind of course we want to put you on." I said, "I just want to fly. I don't want to turn it into a goal. I want to fly. I love flying." If that then leads me into a pilot license and then leads me to another, sure. So anyway, long story short, I got into that training. I got my private pilot license. And after that, one day, I wanted to fly the plane the way I drive a car. When you drive a car, you're going on a trip, It's fun. I know you sometimes get into a pondering state. You know, you drive, you're not think. I mean, the first time you learn to drive a car, you're overthinking, right? You can't even have the music on. No one else can talk because you're focusing and you're concentrating. But what happens as you accumulate more practice and experience is you start to have more space. And as you start to have more space, things can go on autopilot in your driving, and that's what gives you more space. But as you have more space, now you can be driving and having music on and being on your mobile phone. No, I'm joking. Of course, we don't do that, do we? It's funny, on the plane yesterday, I had to be on the mobile phone quite a lot, and it's completely different rules. But anyway, it's you notice that you have more space. So as you practice something, you have more space. You have more space to do other things. So the long story short is, I wanted to fly that plane and not be in like overthinking. Okay, what am I doing next? Okay, and I'm not having fun. Like, I mean, don't get me wrong. When I come back and land, I go, oh, that was so much fun. But I want to enjoy the moment when I'm actually flying. So my goal, if you like, was that I wanted to fly a plane the way I drive a car. So without thinking about it. So that's where aerobatics came in, because aerobatics is like, at the end, it's like, you know, when you learn to drive, your parents teach you how to drive, but, well, they do in Australia anyway. But if you really want to learn how to drive, you should go learn at a track by a professional driver. That's where you actually learn how to drive. Aerobatics is that. It's like suddenly going, you know, you've learned how to drive, your parents have taught you how to drive, and then suddenly you go to a professional, someone who can actually show you the envelope of the aircraft and its performance and what it can do. Anyway, point I was going to get to with adrenaline stuff is that, you know, if you're really into adrenaline things, you find that if you ask yourself why, you know, so I remember having a motorbike that went really fast, and I enjoyed riding it fast at times, and it wasn't an adrenaline thing for me, but if you like, it's when you're doing something that's dangerous, that gives you that adrenaline, you're completely present. That's the point I'm driving at. So sometimes we get hooked or addicted to high adrenaline things or doing things that are very risky or dangerous, because when you're doing that, you have no choice but to be there in that moment. Like, and you didn't meditate or anything like that. It's like in that moment, you're absolutely dedicated to that moment. If you ask many pilots, they say, oh, you know, I love flying. If you ask them why they love flying, it's, you know, a lot of them will say, well, when I'm flying, I'm not thinking about anything else. Like, I'm completely, you know, they basically describe it as I'm completely in the moment. So sometimes we look for experiences that force us to be in the moment. Skydiving. Anyone done skydiving here before? All right, there's a couple of you. Okay, so after this, maybe some of you might actually go and do it. But when you're doing skydiving and you're falling from, you know, 14,000 feet or 10,000 feet for that 30 or 45 seconds, you're not thinking about, oh, what I got to do when I land? Or what about what about if this doesn't happen? Or how am I going to pay my bills? Or you're not thinking about that. You're completely dedicated to the moment. So that's why we do high risky things. It's because it forces us to be in the moment. When I first started flying and taking passengers up, I thought, oh, wouldn't it be interesting if I actually took up some clients as a coaching experience? So I offered it, and I said, "Hey, I've got my pilot license. I'm taking people out for flights. If you're interested in doing a coaching experience with a flight, you know, book it in." So I had a few people who did that, and so they came in for a coaching session, and we'd go up on a plane. So I would just basically say to them as we get prepared to jump in the plane and we start up the engine and we're getting ready to take off. I just said, all I want you to do in this session is observe how you feel. That's all. And I just want you to observe it, and then we're going to talk about it when we land or when we're in the sky. So they said, okay, great. So, and I kept checking in. How you feeling? Oh, yeah, I'm feeling a little bit nervous and what are you nervous about? Oh, the unknown, most people say, the unknown. Or some people say, I've got a bit of fear. What are you afraid of? I just don't want to throw up, So I was like, there's so much more things that could go wrong here. Your fear is I don't want to throw up. So so we observe the experience. And anyway, I take off. And almost immediately after the aircraft gets airborne, there's this feeling where suddenly they start to relax. And because I got a camera on them, and they're all like this, holding on, and we get airborne, and you just see this. They look out and they just start smiling, and they experience this. Julia, you've been up on a flight with me, you're smiling because you remember that day, don't you? So we go up in the air and they're just observing the experience, and we get ready to do the aerobatics, and so I said, okay, we're going to do the aerobatics now, and I'm going to put the plane upside down. You're going to experience some G forces and etc. So we go and do that, and they're having a blast and smiling, laughing. I always stop the aerobatics when I stop hearing them laughing, because I'm like, okay, they're at their end, so we stop it. So we observe this whole experience, and we come back and land, and we talk about it. And I said to them, so tell me, what happened to your, how were you feeling? Oh, I was very nervous. I had a lot of nerves. I was nervous about this, and I was fearful. Okay, so what happened to that? I don't. And it's very common what they said. It was very almost similar to what everyone was saying. One thing that everyone said is like, once we got airborne, I just started to everything underneath me, the world felt so surreal. That is a word that comes up for a lot of people. And even passengers who I'm not taking for coaching sessions, like they're coming up for a flight, they don't even know I'm a coach. I get airborne and we're flying. I'm going, how are you feeling? They go, it feels so surreal. I'm just going to throw that word to you guys. What does surreal mean to you? All right? Like, it doesn't seem real, but there's when it doesn't seem real, you get to experience what is real. To me, that's surreal. So sometimes people even say, this feels like a video game. Like underneath it doesn't feel real. So for me, surreal is like when you realize that something is not real, you're tapping in or beginning to experience what is. Right? And you can't necessarily articulate what is. It's just a feeling. It's just like, and the fear begins to go away. And then when we get to the aerobatics, and I'm like, okay, I'm going to do our checks, make sure we're all good to do our aerobatics, they start to get nervous again, right? And we do the aerobatics, and I say to them, what happened during the aerobatics? All the nerves went away again. And I ask them, and sometimes they'll go, I started to take deep breaths. So it depends who the client is, right? I did your mantra, Amir, nowhere to be, nothing to do, or I did they'll start to look for what they did that made them get really present when it comes to doing the aerobatics. And after discussing this with them, we actually realized it's not what they did that took the fear away when we started doing the aerobatics. It's that when we started doing the aerobatics, it demanded their attention. I mean, when you put the plane upside down and you're not used to being upside down, your entire attention comes into that moment. It demanded their attention, and they were completely present. And they thought, oh, maybe I did this that, made me present. Maybe I did that. Maybe I let go. Some of them went, oh, I just let go and I became present. But the truth of the matter is that when we commenced the aerobatics, their mind could not be anywhere else. They stopped thinking about what if this happens, what if I get sick. All that disappears because they were doing an activity. They were in a moment that absolutely demanded their attention. So when I say they, let me just say it that way. They could not be anywhere else but in that moment. And of course, that's what made their experience so powerful. So then the whole point of this session that I have with these guys, I say to them, well, can you imagine that you fill your day with things that demand your attention? Like your whole life, put it this way. If you're truly doing what you're passionate about, you're truly doing what you love to do you think that demands your attention? And it's like, yeah, it would. So it became about, starting to see, last night yesterday I had to fly home. I did all the test flights and I had to get home before dark. So I was kind of racing last light. And, the sun was setting. I don't know if any of you guys follow me on Instagram, but I posted a little video about it. It should still be up there in my stories. And the sun was setting and I'm starting up the engine and I got airborne and, everything underneath me is becoming dark and you just see that sun, it's gone. And that, it's just, there's a beauty around a sunset or a sunrise when the sky begins to change colors. But, if you want to experience this surreal that I'm talking about, just go and sit with the sunset or a sunrise and watch the sky change color. And you'll experience that surreal that I'm talking about. So you don't have to come up on the aircraft with me to experience it. Go and explore that. What is it when in those moments where we say, oh, it's so surreal? What's that all about? What's that feeling? I gave you my observation of it. Love to hear someone else's. Tell me what your surreal moment is, and tell me what surreal is for you. When you're experiencing something as surreal, what is that? The biggest thing that stands out is something's not real. It doesn't feel real. But there's something more to it. It's not like when you go, oh, it's not like you're watching a cartoon with your kids and go, well, or a movie and go, this movie doesn't feel real. It's not the same. You watch a really cheap movie, cheap actors, you're like, you know what, I'm not even feeling this. This doesn't even seem real. See, that's different to when you're experiencing something as surreal. It's like, oh, wow, you're in awe that it doesn't seem real. Because in that moment, you have maybe unconsciously or a part of you has become aware that perhaps this isn't real. But when you are contemplating this, again, could be unconsciously, when you're contemplating that, wow, perhaps this isn't real, you're grasping what is real. And you then become in awe. Every afternoon, I pick up the kids. It's winter in Australia at the moment. So when I pick up the kids, especially if they're doing after daycare in the school, when I go pick up the kids, it's getting dark. I'm not looking at the sunset, but the sun is setting, and I just see in the west, it just changes. The sky is just changing color. Just in that moment, I never miss it. It's like it's that surreal moment. And what I'm feeling is the presence of something enormous. Call it the present moment. But it could be just a few seconds because I'm walking to pick up the kids and I just look up in the sky. It's just like, but most people miss that. That moment that I'm talking about, everyone has the opportunity to tap into that or experience that twice a day. I would encourage you to actually make some moments for yourself, where you would actually go and sit with a sunrise or a sunset. And doesn't mean you can actually see the sun. Like where I live in Bondi Beach in Australia, so I've got the privilege of watching the sun come up over the coast. So uninterrupted view of the sunrise. And that's awesome. But I don't have the view of the sunset. And it's not about seeing the sun go. It's about seeing, the transformation that is taking place before the sun rises or as the sun sets. Sit with it, see it. So you guys get the difference between when you say, hey, you know what, this doesn't seem real. One is like, this doesn't seem real, and I'm not even impressed, right? One is, this doesn't seem real, and I'm in awe. What are you in awe about? And I know sometimes I can't even put words to it. You don't need to. Just feel it. Just be in awe. Twice a day, you have an opportunity to be in awe. Be in awe. So, thank you, Jonathan, for your contribution before, because that's what dropped in for me to share with everyone. So that's how this works. You could just drop in something, and then I'm away. And but yeah, look for that awe, and look for that surreal moment, and ask yourself. A lot of the things that I share with you guys, I'm going to say a lot, if not all of it, right? I have come to share with you because I ask these questions. Why does something feel surreal? Why it doesn't feel real? But there's a lot of things that don't feel real, and it doesn't give me that awe feeling. I'm in awe of it. Well, what's and I ask these questions. Now if we came here to do what we love to do, well, if we didn't come here, all the big questions that you could think about, I ask. Did I really come here to get tested? Is this really a test? Why would if I came from an infinite place, why would I come here to get tested? All the big questions. Who am I? Like, did I really come here to work for a living? Like, to survive? No, I don't think so. I came here to do what I love. Why can't we all do what we love? Forget about everyone else. Why can't I do what I love all the time? All the questions I asked, and those truth bumps that you guys get, and the Limitless program. This is because I didn't read any of this in a book, and all I'm guiding people to do is ask some of these questions for themselves, so they can realize for themselves, because that's what self-realization is. Remember, I'm teaching here, I'm sharing with people the ideas of self-realization, not self-development, because self-development is about how you need to still fix, improve, change, or get rid of a part of yourself. Self-realization is not about fixing, improving, changing, or getting rid of a part of yourself. There's nothing. When you self-realize, there's actually nothing to heal. Because when you realize who you are, you're no longer the version of you that needed healing. But for as long as you're doing the work to heal yourself, and some of you are like, I've got nothing to heal. It doesn't matter. Change the word heal to fix, improve, change, or get rid of something. For as long as you're doing the work to fix, improve, change, or for as long as you're doing the work to heal something, there's always something to fix, improve, or change, or there's always something to heal. I've had so many people come to my retreats and this is a very common thing. I thought I dealt with that. No, you just moved it. What we do is we do a program, we read a book, and we do something, and we change the form of it. You were insecure around your finances. Now you're insecure in your health, in your body image. You work on that, and then now you're insecure around your work or your relation. It just that insecurity or that fear that you have or that discomfort, it just changes form from one area to another. It's like that you got a bubble in your life and you squeeze and the bubble moves. When you got something and there's a bubble, like you got some contact and you didn't put the contact on your book correctly. I remember doing this at school. Back when I was at school, you used to put contacts on the cover of your books so they would stay in good condition. But if you didn't do it right, you get all these bubbles in there. And then you would squeeze the bubble, but where's the bubble going to go? It just moves. It moves to the corner of the book where you don't see it as much, but it's still there. You can't get rid of the bubble. That's what people do with self-development. They are fixing, improving, or changing, or they think they're getting rid of something. They're not. They are getting rid of it in that form. It then transforms into another form. This is why you see sometimes somebody plays a role in your life that makes you feel insufficient, for example. And then you do work on yourself and you start to feel sufficient, and then you go, I don't feel insufficient anymore. But that person doesn't play that role anymore. Let's say it was your partner or a friend. Oh, this friend doesn't make me feel insufficient anymore. But I've got this new boss that now is almost like playing that exact same role, and I'm feeling insufficient around my work now. Yeah, you just moved the bubble. So people come to my retreat and they go, I thought that I dealt with this. And don't get me wrong, there's a lot of tools and techniques that are very supportive for people to help them manage their pain or manage their insecurity or manage what needs to be healed. Sorry, Erica, I know you had your hand up. I'll come back to you. Just when I get in the flow, I keep going. I'll come back to you. But leave your hand up. I'll come back to you. So yeah, it's if you don't know, it's good to use some of these tools and techniques. But once you know, it's like, like my image back there, that's the image of, I got an artist to paint that for me, actually, because I had that image and I wanted these colors, and it was a job. If you can't see clearly, it's Morpheus from the Matrix, and in his hand he's got the red and blue pill. Self-realization is like taking the red pill. And once you take that red pill, you can't go back. Once you know, right? And so the self-realization is realizing who you are for yourself. Nobody can tell you. So that it's got two meanings, self-realizations. You need to realize yourself, who you are as the true self, right? For yourself. Because nobody, including me, can tell you who you are. You need to realize it for yourself. And as you begin to do that, that's what I call doing the work. Sometimes people say, we're doing the work, but they're doing the work in self-development. When I refer to doing the work, I'm talking about self-realizing. And as you self-realize, and again, people experience this from coming away from a retreat with me, and it's just the truth. It's just, I can see some people who've done retreats with me here, and they can definitely vouch for that. When you come and experience a deeper version of yourself, and you realize for yourself, and when I say realize for yourself, you got to be a freaking very, very special human being to actually do that on your own. Because I didn't do that on my own. I'm no Jesus Christ. I had someone who supported me, who mentored me, who coached me to realize for myself. Just like I'm doing that for you guys right now. I didn't do it on my own. So when I say you need to self-realize, you need to realize for yourself, it doesn't mean do it on your own. Don't misinterpret what I'm saying. No, I'm trying to, right now, my intention is to build a community for everybody here to be able to support themselves. There's no finances here. No one's paying for these services. I want to support you so you can realize for yourself. And I want to build a community where there's people here, because it's no use me just doing all the talking. Because most people will relate more with what Jonathan shares or what Penelope or Eric, because you see them as, oh, they're just like me. Unfortunately, people go, oh, well, you've been doing this for 15, 20 years. This is, it's easy for you to say kind of conversation. But anyway, the point I'm getting at is that the self-realization is that when you realize this for yourself, you're no longer the version of you that you once were that had that problem. You're not that version anymore. And you can only, I know that some of you are like, well, what do you mean? I'm still the same person. You know what? There is infinite versions of you that you could be in every single moment. And all those infinite versions of you exist in this moment. If you could contemplate what infinity means, that would actually, you could understand that. Again, this is something what does the word infinite mean? Often when I deliver my programs to people, we talk about infinity quite a lot. Of course, most of you have done the Limitless program. I talk about infinity all day. Limitless. What's limitless? Infinite. But it's interesting when I do these programs and I ask people, if I ask the audience, what does infinite mean? The first thing they'll say is, well, it means that I could do whatever I want whenever I want, and all is possible. And I say, well, what do you mean all is possible? Well, all is possible means, all the things that I want is possible. And I said, well, you're half correct. Because again, you're interpreting, you need to really ask the question, what does infinite mean? You're interpreting infinity with your goggles on. The goggles are your sunglasses, so they're your view of the world, which is your perception. And they say anything is possible that I want. No. Anything is possible. And if it's infinite, it's not only possible, it exists. It exists in this moment. So there's a version of you that is less fortunate. There's the version of you that needs to learn more lesson. It exists. So when anything is possible, you could succeed here, you could fail. That's why we call it the unknown. It's the unknown. Again, remember when I take people flying and I go, what are you afraid of? And even the person who's not doing this work and is not getting coached by me, and I ask them the question before we take off, it's either I'm afraid of throwing up or I'm afraid of the unknown. I don't know what's gonna happen. I don't know how this is gonna feel. It's the unknown. It could feel amazing, and it does for many people. I've had someone where I've done the first aerobatic maneuver, and they said, stop, take me home. It wasn't fun. That's also possible. But that's the unknown. Now, in case you're thinking, well, it sounds frightening, but you need to go in that unknown to choose what you want. Within that unknown, you can choose the version of yourself. Anyway, a little bit deep. That's not what I normally talk about I'm trying to keep it really simple for you. There's a really, really awesome movie at the moment. You know, I like movies that give people reference points. If you've done my programs, you see during the programs, I show movie clips. And I've got a whole library of so many movie clips that are so supportive to actually grasp what I'm sharing. You know, you teach through metaphors, through telling stories. A movie is telling a story. There's a good movie at the moment that I'm watching with one of my elite coaching groups at the moment, and it's called Dark Matter. Is it right? Dark Matter, Anna? Yeah, Dark Matter. And if you watch that, you're going to get a reference point of what I just shared about there's infinite versions of you in this moment. If you want to grasp what I'm saying here, ask yourself, what does infinity mean? And don't give me a kindergarten answer. Oh, it means anything's possible. Anything that I want is possible. No. It's more than that. And if you can find that answer and realize that answer, you won't be afraid of the unknown anymore. You're like, this is the unknown. I'm tapping into infinity. You know, the first thing that happened when we went into lockdown and we went through COVID, global lockdown, all is possible. Anything's possible here. I'm connecting to the unknown, not from a point of fear. In fact, there was so many people who struggled with that. I mean, yes, you couldn't go out, and that's not nice for human beings. You need to get out. I get that. But most people struggled psychologically from the unknown. They don't know what's going to happen. I could lose my business here. I could lose my job. Where's the next dollar going to come? That's the unknown. Now, let me tell you, I live in the unknown. And now you think to yourself, well, I don't want to live in the known. I want to know what's happening so I can feel what? More safe, more secure. You see, when you play in the unknown long enough, you start to find this knowing in that unknown. When you're not aware about this, what you do is you look to find knowing from the known. Now, you can find knowing from the known, but every knowing that you get from let's say a knowing from the known, I've got this much money in the bank account. Is that true? Yes. But even that, the bank could go bust. Even that, you hear stories where my bank account's been shut down before. I transferred some money, this is only a few months ago. I transferred some money to America to pay for my retreat that I'm running a retreat in 4 weeks in America. And I transferred them the money, and my bank shut down everything. I couldn't access any money for the next 24 hours, and I had to fight and argue with them to actually get access to my accounts again. They took it all. And they said, oh, this is a scam. I'm like, it's not a scam. And they wouldn't give me access to my money. So anyway, finally, within 24 hours, I got access again. And they went and got that money back, and it got reversed back into my account. They wouldn't let me pay an American company. So I had to find another way to pay a retreat, a venue. I had to find another way, just to give you a reference point. You know, most people, a job gives you a certain amount of income. You've got a wage or a salary. That's the known. But you see, when you're getting a knowing or certainty from the known, it's temporary. It's never forever. Suddenly the job disappears. Suddenly they're firing people. Redundancies coming in. So, for me, my certainty comes from the uncertain. My knowing what I'm sharing comes from the unknown. And it's about finding your ability to find your comfort. Because I know when you step into the unknown or you view the unknown, it creates a discomfort. But like anything, you do it, you practice, you become comfortable in the discomfort. What I just described there is infinite possibilities. If you want to move energy or tap into the possibilities that are infinite, that's what it requires. It requires you to step into the unknown. Now, let me be very clear about who is afraid of the unknown. Which part of you is afraid of the unknown? The identity. The part of you that identifies yourself as being this body. You are Jonathan. You are Erica. I am Amir. I was born and I die. This part evolves itself into being the ego. If the identity or the ego was to step into the unknown, it will cease to exist. It's called the death of the ego. So anytime there is the unknown, there's a part of you that's screaming, stop, don't go there. I mean, imagine we threw you into the unknown. I mean, how big is the universe? All that emptiness out there. Imagine you just got released into that unknown. That's what the ego or your identity is feeling any time you're facing the possibilities of the unknown. Anytime you're experiencing the unknown, it's like, don't go there. But what I'm telling you is the unknown is infinity. Ask yourself the questions. That is infinite possibilities. So infinite possibilities is not the version of possibilities that you make up in your head and put little clouds around it and going, it's I get to do what I want to do whenever I want to do. That's what infinite possibilities is. No, it's not. And then you'll grasp what I'm saying here when I'm saying to you that when you self-realize, you become the version that I am today. It is not the same version of when I first started this journey. It's not the same. Sure, I'm still in the same body. Sure, but even the body's changed. Like I used to be really obese. Even my body changed. So even physically you could change. But I don't identify myself as that person. I mean, let me give you an example, because then you're like, oh, what are you talking about? The version of Jonathan right now is not the same version of when he was 6. Yes, there's a story, a memory that links and goes, well, it's the same person. But Jonathan, when he was 6, it's not the same version as Jonathan. I don't know, how old are you, Jonathan? Maybe 30, 40, 30? You don't have to answer that. You look young. You see? Maybe you relate to that more. It's not the same version. And you go, well, I've changed, because I've grown. Yes, I get it. And you're going to have a story that will support why you have changed. But either way, it's not the same person. It is the same person. Let me not freak you out too much. It's not the same version. Your understanding of life is very different. So what I'm saying to you is that when you self-realize, there's nothing to heal. Because you're no longer that version. That's where the journey of fix, improve, change, keep, retain, get rid of stops. And you know what? That's when you actually start playing the game of life. That's when the game really starts. And you go, this is why I came here. I knew this was a game. I know some of you are like, it's not a game, it's a life. Okay? Ask yourself the question, why did you come here? So, yeah, today's become a bit more content. Does anyone, Erica, let's go to you, see if you got that question still. Yes, Erica.
And if my internet keeps saying it's unstable, so if I start cutting out, I didn't actually have a question. It was way back. It was just more like a comment when you were first talking about when people go up in the airplane or being in the present moment.
Yeah.
I was just having all these examples like flood into my memory of like one time years and years ago being in one of those amusement parks where you get in the thing and they strap you in and take you way, way, way up and then you go swing back and forth. And I can remember I was just like, what am I doing? What was I thinking? Why did we do this, me and my friend? But once they let it go, it was just that total feeling of freedom, being in the moment. I related to what you said, just looking down and being like,
yeah.
Or I do live about an hour and a half from the ocean where you can sit and look at the sunset. And for me, a lot, it's that feeling when I'm hiking, because I love to go hiking, and just being someplace and looking down at the trees and seeing the cloud just dangling over the trees, or just put you in that place of being in the present moment, where in that moment, you're not thinking about, your whatever. You're not thinking about sorting your house or your bills or anything. You're just in the present moment in awe.
Yeah. So you relate to what I'm talking about. I appreciate that. Excellent. And thank you for sharing those reference points. I'm sure everyone's got some reference points that they are relating to. And that's you wouldn't be here, because some of the concepts I'm sharing, you might think to yourself, well, what drug did you smoke this morning before you came on this call, right? But the fact that you're here on these calls or you're listening to this is because you've got a reference point, and somewhere within you, even though it may not make logical sense, some of the things that we talk about, infinite, you cannot make, I was going to say you cannot logically understand infinity, but then again, I just realized mathematics, like people understand infinity through mathematics. People explain how everything's infinite through mathematics. People explain how everything's infinite through quantum physics. So there is so many different, platforms that people could actually relate to infinity. But yeah, thank you, Erica. I appreciate that. I'm going to check in as well with Helena, because we've had a few sessions together. When I say we've had, you've shared a lot on these calls, and I just want to see how you're doing. Like since last we spoke. Last time I spoke to you, you were on a holiday somewhere. I think was it Greece? Now you're frozen, so I don't know if there you go. You're back. How you doing, Helena? Oh, you just got to unmute yourself, because are you unmuted?
Yes.
Okay, cool.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Yes, I'm back home, and the echo of that call is still with me, and also the other call where you spoke about neutralizing emotional load.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
That
emotional
really
charges.
Did something. Emotional charges. Yes, that was how you put it. And then it became clear to me that so much of my past was still loaded, was still carrying so much emotional charge. Like I would yeah, so that going into a similar experience is hard because the reference point, so to speak, is still charged with.
Oh, she dropped out. I think she had weak internet anyway. Yeah, it looks like she just dropped out mid-call. Technology, hey? All right, guys. Well, we'll come to the end of our session today anyway. Thanks, Jonathan, and Erica, and anyone else who contributed. Oh, you're back. Your internet's a bit unstable, Helena, so we're going to leave it there. But yeah, maybe next week let's pick up where you're at and see if you got a good. It looks like it's good now. You have it. See if you can talk now. Let's see if it's sorted. No.
It should work, but the whole Zoom call just went away.
No, you keep freezing, so that tells me that your internet's a little bit slow. So, but look, let's try next week when we've got a bit more time anyway. And I'd love to see where you're at because you've shared a lot about yourself, and that's the great thing about these calls is, you know, at the moment we've got intimate groups, so we can kind of pick up, you know, where we spoke to someone 3 weeks ago and go, well, you know, where are you at after the coaching I gave you? And they might have further questions. And a lot of who remembers Helena and her share? Put your hand up if you, yeah. So you see, we're getting a lot of people who, and some, Jonathan's new, so he doesn't, but she's shared some pretty amazing, yeah, it was good. It was very honest, and it was a great call we had. Anyway, guys, we'll wrap it up there. Thanks, everyone. Thanks, and welcome to the group, Jonathan, and thanks for everyone who's watched the recording, and hopefully we can have you join us live because it's special when it's live. You can participate. That's a big difference right there. I will also say because we've just announced that I'm doing a retreat for the first time in Europe. For the first time, I'm doing a retreat in America. In 4 weeks. So if anyone's interested in actually coming and experiencing a retreat, message us or direct message me on the in the WhatsApp group. If you're not part of the WhatsApp group, join the WhatsApp group because we can have ongoing conversations after the calls. But for the first time, I'm doing a retreat in Europe. So if you're on my database, which a lot of you are, an email went out yesterday. So look up for that email or message me. But first time, Italy in December, early December, I'm coming to Italia. So looking forward to it. I know there's a lot of Europeans on this call. So it's, I've had up till this year, the only retreats that I ran for the general public were in Australia, and I would have people from all around Europe, all around the US and Australia fly into those retreats. But now I've decided to take the retreat to the people. So, if you've got any questions about that, hit me up. All right, guys. Have a great day, evening, and I'll see you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you. See you later.
Thanks, Jonathan. Bye. Thank you.